it's Jen. Hope everyone's doing well today. I have a project share. I am going to a 3-day crop this weekend with some good friends. And I don't go away to crops that often, but we've been planning this for a really long time, so I thought I would make them something special. And these are the tea bag books, but these are pretty elaborate versions of those, and I tried to do like a little survival kit for each of them. So I'll try and go through them quickly. They did get a little bit elaborate in that I pretty much made all of the different embellishments that went into them, so I will try to somewhat quickly go over what I did. And I'll start with the first one that I made. I had gotten these wooden tags at Michael's and just paper pieced over them, the front and back, and hung them with some seam binding on the side. I got some wooden, they were very ugly actually, wooden flowers at the craft store and just covered those. And on the sides of some of my wooden pieces I use the Jelly Roll Clear Star pen, and it just gives it a lot of shimmer on the side, which I really like. And added a paper clip. It says a few of my favorite things, and then just some paper piecing there. Oh, I also used in the background, I used a Sherry Lynn die cut, and that's one of the, I think it's the English tea doily or something like that. And then I also used some mica and cut out some circles, and then ran that through my Cuttlebug and inked that. And then actually on the back, this was tied to the back, I got them each a pack of gum, and it didn't fit inside the book, so I made a separate little envelope for that, and that's just vellum. Okay. And let me just make sure I'm in frame here. Oh, not really. Okay. And on this first page, I made some embellishments that they can use in their projects. And so the first thing I did was cut out the Tim Holtz. I used Tim Holtz die, and it was from the sewing kit one, and just cut out the spool and inked it, and it actually did some embossing on there. Wrapped some vintage lace around there that they can use in their projects, as well as a stick pin. Just paper pieced on the back, and then made this little envelope with the heart cut out. And inside are some of the taffeta stamp pieces that I have a video out there on them where I just stamp on taffeta, and then I use some glimmer mist to make it really sparkly. And some of these I did a little bit of coloring on as well with the glimmer mist, like on the flowers here. And then there's my little Susie Blue girl. I love her. So they can use those in their projects. And just some trim, and again the doily there. And then on the inside are some of their little survival kit items. So I have a tea bag, I have some chocolate, I made a pocket here, and these are actually Band-Aids. Just covered them in case they need those. I used the Tim Holtz die here. I'm really enjoying making these little vintage looking tile pieces. And so there's some birds there, and there's a little vintage lady there. Just did some layering here again with the mica piece and some stamping, and then I made these little banners out of the paper collection, and a little resin, or not resin, just a little plastic. I always say it's EK Success, but it's not EK Success. It's oh, they're right here. They are the Epiphany Craft little bubble caps, they're called, and so they're just 1 inch, and so it's really easy to just punch punch out a 1-inch circle of an image that you like and then cover those. And this was some crocheted lace trim that I glimmer misted. So that's the first one, and then the back. Oh, and then I also put a little coordinating mechanical pencil in there because I'm always finding that I need pencils when I'm crafting. And then this one I absolutely love. I had made this tag and punched out some, it's just thin metal, and ran it through the Cuttlebug, and then did some, I was actually trying to ink it with my alcohol inks, and for whatever reason the alcohol inks weren't taking to it real well, and I had to kind of let them sit on there for a while. But then I covered it with some satin Mod Podge and used my Pitt Artist pens by Faber-Castell to do some coloring on there, and it just always works real well to use those over Mod Podge. You can add any type of color that you want. And then the front of this one, I again used a piece of mica and ran it through with one of my Sizzix dies, and then ran it through the Cuttlebug, and it actually says Paris on there. It's kind of a Parisian theme to this one. Did paper piecing over one of the flowers again, and then these little hinges came in a Tim Holtz alphabet pack. I didn't even know that there were other images in the back of it. But I used enamel embossing powder on those, and they actually really look like they're metal, but it's actually just grunge paper with the enamel embossing powder. And then I used some enamel embossing powder on this heart, which was also, I hope this is showing up okay, which is also on grunge paper. Use the doily cutouts again. Really like this image with the dress form in the back. And I also, when I added the eyelet, it was a painted eyelet, and it kind of, a lot of the paint had chipped off of it, so I just put some enamel embossing powder and some stays on over the top of that and just made it somewhat distressed looking. And then the inside's similar, so I'm not going to take this all apart, but I did put on this one of my stamped taffeta pieces. And inside again is very similar. I'll just do a close-up of the little vintage tiles that I had made. And the little banner. I had really like this dress form. And that was just a stamp I had, and again used one of the different colors of the enamel embossing powder. And let me just show you the packaging on that really quick. I absolutely love this stuff. It is by Stampendous, and it's just called enamel embossing powder, and it says whoop, enamel or embossing enamel kit. And so there you have these 5 different kind of very vintagey colors in there. And actually there is a gelato kit that has 4 kind of vintage colored gelatos in it that match with this perfectly. I'll show you those really quick as well. Here's our gelatos, but I believe, not sure, but I believe these are the 4 that come in one of the gelato packages, and they coordinate so well. You can kind of see the colors are all the same in with the enamel embossing powder. So I find that I really like to use these 2 items together. It's amazing how well they coordinate. They're from 2 different companies, but Okay, and then this, I love this little, the plastic cap I put over this little image. She was on my, I had gotten a new Ann Taylor loft card to replace my old one, and she was the image on the card, so I just punched her out with my, in my Cuttlebug with one of my circle dies. And I know there's a little bit of glare here, but just loved her. And again, made some of the covered Band-Aids there, and then and then there's the little pack of gum that goes with that one. I was trying to think of things that that we could use, or that they would need or want to have while we were at this crop. And then this is the third one. Very similar to the others, just different papers. And I did some paper piecing the hot air balloon on top of the stamp image. So I cut out the stamp and then I cut it out again. And this down here was another piece of mica. I've been just playing with mica. The mica is, if you aren't familiar with it, it's a really actually thin stone, but it comes in little sheets, and you can peel it apart. And I actually did some stamping on this one and cut it out, so I definitely use StazOn for the Ferris wheel image. And made the flower, and made the little center for the flower, and made this little, used a frame and just put a little vintage image of a girl in there. And again, you tried to use the doilies in the background. I will grab that package of mica. The only place that, well, you can get it online, but the one place that I found that has it online is Joann's. So I had ordered a package. And it kind of just gives some different texture to your projects. I did have to, not on this one, but on some of the smaller pieces, I had to Mod Podge over the mica because it does get very flaky. So I Mod Podged both sides of it. And the little pack of gum. And again, just, very, very similar. I was spending so much time on these, I was trying to just follow the same, kind of the same pattern each time. And there's the little tiles again. And the mechanical pencils and the Band-Aids. And then these are Spellbinders. I think they're the Grand dies. I don't know if they're the Grand Caliber dies by Donna Salazar. They're the butterflies, and I actually cut out the butterfly, and I found it very, very helpful with those intricate dies, the butterfly ones, to use. You can use wax paper. I actually use parchment paper, and then it is so much easier to get the butterfly out of the die. And then the parchment paper always comes out real well too, so I kind of double layered the parchment paper, just inked it and layered it over the butterfly. And in this one, you can't really see it. There's actually, it's underneath the butterfly. And just added a bunch of words in there. So I really hope that they like them. We're very excited to go away, and I'm real excited to give them to them. Let me just grab that package of mica so I can show you can see what it looks like. And I'll show you the package of the metal sheets that I use for the hearts. This was by Making Memories. I got this from Joann's online as well. There's one thin sheet and one thick sheet in here. I wasn't sure how I was gonna use it, but now that I've done that little heart tag, I absolutely love that. So this one's pretty thin. This one's a little bit thicker. So those will be fun to play with in projects. So real quick, here are the mica tile pieces, and again I got these from Joann's online, and so you can, it says mica it rocks. It's actually stone. I guess it's like my daughter is really into science, and she was telling me that what the mica was, some type of sedimentary rock, but it has this little bit of brownish hue to it, and this was one piece, and it, it's pretty thick, but you can just kind of put your fingernail or use a pair of tweezers or something, and you just start from the side and it peels apart. So here's a really thin piece, and this one you could still peel apart into some different layers, or you can use it thick. And like I said, if I were to run this thinner piece through my Cuttlebug, it would get kind of flaky, so that's why I was adding Mod Podge on both the front and the back. And then you can add color to it. You can use StazOn ink with it. But again, just a nice way to add some different element to your projects. So that's all I have today. I will be sharing the album I'm making this weekend at some point. I highly doubt I'll finish it this weekend. But it will be real fun to go away and work on it and just spend some time with the girls. So everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching. I will be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.